Hello, everyone, and welcome to this SmartX Innovation Hub webinar. So we're gonna give like 5 minutes the lobby for people to connect, and as you know, it's a webinar where we are going to recap what we have done in 2024, and as well we are going to meet all our co-hosts that they are going to explain some activities that they have been in charge, despite, as we always say, the SmartX Innovation Hub is a collaborative platform. And later on, we will have, we have here today Lutz, and he's gonna do a presentation about the textiles of the future. And later on, we will finalize the webinar, of course, with the activities that they are waiting for us in 2025. And we will finish with a small survey from a project that we are running right now that it's called the Smartino. And later on, we'll move to the Q&A. We'll see the agenda in a few slides. But as I said, I would like to give 5 more minutes for people to register, to find the links, and to join us, because we are expecting a huge audience today. And I see from my colleague's laptop that most of the co-hosts are here with us today, but it looks like the lobby is quite quiet, but it's 1 more minute and then I will start moving to the next slide. Of course, I'll start with the webinar procedures. I know that most of you are familiar with them, but I prefer to repeat them in order that the webinar works smoothly. So I'm going to start moving to the next slide. Perfect. So the webinar procedures, you are familiar with them. So as you know, this webinar is going to be recorded. And this time the recording, it's not going to be on the members platform. It's going to be available for everyone who has registered in the webinar, and probably it will be as well available at the ETP YouTube channel. So for the performance of this webinar, I will kindly ask to everyone to mute your microphones and of course disconnect your videos. As always, we don't allow to use any AI tools or any recording tools. And as I said, we will have a Q&A session at the end of the webinar. And for this Q&A session, please feel free to type your questions to the chat. We are monitoring the chat all the time. And of course, if you want to have any interaction with us or with any of our co-hosts, please feel free to raise your hand and we will give you the word to speak. Moving forward, I'm going to continue presenting the agenda. I'm a little bit slow moving the slides, but it's due to the big screen that we have today here. So as I said, I'm going to start giving a brief presentation of what is the SmartX Innovation Hub, and of course what happened and what did we do in 2024. Later on, I'll give the word to our co-hosts that they will explain like an activity that they have been in charge, one of those activities that they have been in 2024. Of course, for today as well, my colleague Mateo will talk about social media, that he's always in the back office, but he's always there supporting me. And as I mentioned briefly when we opened the webinar, today we have Lutz here, and he's going to talk about the EU research funding opportunities, and of course a bit about the Textiles of the Future partnership. And later on, I'll take over again and we'll go to the upcoming activities of 2024. And after that, we'll have a small survey about a project that we are running and the difficulties from universities and industry in smart textiles particularly. And then we'll go to the Q&A. So moving forward. Okay, now it's working perfect. I'm super happy. Well, as I mentioned, what is the SmartX Innovation Hub and who are the people joining this community? As I always say, we need to collaborate and learn in order to innovate. So it's a place or a hub for research centers, universities, industry, startups, SME, and any association that they are interested in smart textiles or in technical textiles. Of course, we have a network of members in our members platform because there is a dedicated members platform that we'll talk later on. But basically, it's a platform where we upload all the webinars, all the PDF, and as well as is a place to meet and to network with other experts in the field. And it's at the same time, there is a place to try to find opportunities for partnerships or for participations in EU funding projects. As I mentioned previously, I'm not alone on that initiative, and we are collaborating quite hard with all these people here. So we have Lutz, me, and Matteo, who are working at ATP, and we are co-leading this initiative. Of course, we count with the expertise of Daniela Zavec from Titera, that she's our expert in smart textiles. And then we have other co-hosts that they are Ariana and Josep from Textils.CAT, Stefan Schmidt from IVGT, Mauro Sanperegrini from Sistema Mora Italia, and two research centers who are Centi and Borås, and the people who are working on that with us is Kevin, Nelson, Katerina, Susan, and Lena-Marie. You're going to meet all of them as they are going to have the word while we go through the activities of 2024. So moving forward, that's something I would like to mention before starting to all the activities. We have decided last year, so January 2024, to divide this hub into two big groups. One is high performance fibers and textiles, that they are textiles specifically designed to surpass the performance of conventional materials, excelling in a wide range of functionalities. And on the other side, we have smart textiles, which is basically textiles with integrated electronic components that provides a function. I want to clarify that because we have webinars specifically for high-performance fibers and textiles and webinars specifically for smart textiles, same as activities and tours that we will talk later on, so touring, trade fairs and events. So we do separate them in these two big groups. About our hub right now, I mean, we are happy to mention that at the moment we are 36 organizations from 14 EU and associate countries, and we count in our members platform more than 120 professionals working specifically in those areas of expertise. So, talking about us, we are a growing community, and of course, every year we add new activities because the community is designed for our members. So the members, they ask us if they need any activity, and of course, we try to provide them with those activities. This year, as you can see, we have been quite active in conferences and, of course, in physical events, as well as in some trade fairs and events. We have participated in a SmartX conference, LOPEC. We had a specific smart textiles workshop, of course, the ETP annual conference and the e-textile conference and different SmartX tours in Textile. So moving into that, I'm going to mention that, which, I mean, it seems nothing, but it has been a lot of effort putting there and a lot of hours of work from the team. But this year, only this year, we had more than 12 learning webinars. And these learning webinars, they have been developed with more than 36 keynote speakers. Only in 2024, which means that in the members platform, you can find activities from 2023 and 2022 when we started running the Smart Textiles Masterclass, and in 2023 when it was the beginning of the SmartX Innovation Hub. So as it's quite important and quite a topic that everyone is interesting. So what are those webinars about? So those webinars are focused either in end markets or either in different functionalities. So we have end markets like, for example, protection, industry, gaming, health and well-being, automotive, transport, outdoor activities, medical applications as well. And of course, we mix them with different functionalities, for example, energy harvesting, conductive and sensing, heating applications, antibacterial, self-cleaning, flame retardant, and much more applications that, of course, if we look into those white walls, we will find out. And now, with no further delay, we're going to start specifically with the activities that we have been running during 2024. And this is why I would like to invite our first co-host, which is the Technological Center of Portugal. And they are going to talk about 3 trade fairs that they have participated in. So, Kevin, floor is yours.
Thank you, Judith. Can you hear me well?
Yes, perfectly.
Perfect. So first of all, hi to everyone, and thank you for attending today's webinar. From Centi side, we will present you three main events where we were involved in the field of high performance materials and fibers and textiles, and also in the field of smart textiles. Starting from the first event, that is LOPEC. LOPEC, just to make a brief summary of what is the event, is until today the largest exhibition and conference for large area printed and flexible and organic electronics. So considering LOPEC, this is the largest fair in terms of flexible and organic printed electronics. It's a fair in more than 10 years, and Centi has been attending already quite a lot of events, and we have been noticing that the field of smart textiles is growing a lot within the fair. And at the same time, it's not only printed-based applications that we are noticing, but also new flexible electronic approaches applied to e-textiles, like, for example, the integration of conductive yarns through advanced processes. So this is one of the fairs where our partners should be, if they want, either from one side, because this is not only an exhibition but also a conference. So here you also have the opportunity to understand and see emerging technologies in the field of smart textiles. And in this way is the event to be if you want to learn a little bit more about which possible technologies can be embedded in your solutions. But since it's also an exhibition, you also have the room to display any type of new e-textile based solutions that you're promoting. So it's the perfect place to be if you want to explore and continue to collaborate in the field of smart textiles and e-textile based applications. It's not a fair, it's not a conference that is dedicated a lot to high performance fibers and textiles, but it's for sure the correct place to be for smart textiles and e-textile based solutions. It's a conference where Centi has been present, and here we had the chance to meet with several of the Smart Innovation Hub members, and it's a really perfect place for discussion for future events. So this is the base of LOPEC. Within this year, we have also been involved in Compamed and Medica, which are fairs totally dedicated to the medical area. They run at the same time, at the same place. Medic on one hand is completely dedicated to healthcare and medical developments for different fields with different materials. Of course, textiles make part of it. And at the same time, Compamed is the fair where new technologies, materials, devices, and solutions are being developed to supply the medical area. So within this context, we were present at Compamed with a booth that you can see underneath. And at the same time, we had the chance to meet with several partners and several members of the hub. And what is clear is that within medical applications, there is room for smart textiles and for high performance fibers and textile-based solutions. We found a lot of examples of new wearable solutions for monitoring capabilities like ECG, EMG, and even EEG applications. Also, with textile-based solutions more dedicated for rehabilitation purposes, but it's also the type of fair where you can find new high-performance textiles and fibers that can be applied to specific areas of the medical, for example, for filters, for new solutions for compression. So different solutions can be found within these areas. So our advice for our members is, if you have some type of solution that you think that might be directed to medical applications, this is also the place to be present. And from our side, we are always glad to help you and support you in the dissemination within these events. In case you have any questions, feel free to contact.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. I mean, I hope for everyone was okay. Of course, my colleague left because we're having some technical issues here. I can hear partially, but I cannot hear completely correctly. But okay, it should work. But of course, if you have any questions for Kevin or for Centi, feel free to type them in the chat. And of course, we'll be happy to take them at the end. Now we are leaving Portugal and we are moving to Germany with our next co-host, which is Stefan Schmidt for IVGT, the cluster organization in Germany. And he's going to speak about one of the key trade fairs and events that we had, which was Textile, quite important. And he's located not far away from the fair. So Stefan, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Judith. I hope you can hear me well. Textile in Frankfurt is co-located also to Texprocess. The Texprocess fair is in another hall at the fairground. Both fairs together are the biggest event for us as a technical association. It's also for our members and for the whole industry in Europe. Textile itself has also some ex-Europe fairs in China, in the US, in India, and so on. But the biggest is every second year in Frankfurt in Germany. It was like in the last years always a 4-day fair. And actually this year in 24, it was the most buzzing fair I have ever experienced in the last years. Maybe one of the reasons it's also that there were a lot of tours organized. ETP had tours to visit booths and company over the 4 days. The association IVGT, together with others, also had tours to different companies. And I think the fair, the Frankfurt Fair, want to extend even that over for the next event in 26. As they already said, they also want to have then in 2 years another dedicated hall for textile chemicals and also for natural fibers and high performance fibers. I think high performance fibers are very important for the whole technical textile sector. And what I noticed this year, we had again over 200 students from various universities of applied science visiting the fair, looking for new developments. We had groups with startups from all over Europe and the globe to come to Frankfurt to inform themselves what kind of products are there. And as I mentioned, this year for the first time, we had a natural fiber performance area on the fairground. As we see, the environment is very important also for technical textiles. And there's a lot of potential with natural fibers, which can be used for various applications there. So all the photos are full and packed with people. And I think even one of Judith's tour, it was over 40 people who joined the tour and went through all the halls. We had also different booth parties at the evening, because networking at big events like Textile, Texprocess, and others is very important to bring people together beside the information they can get. And I think with the tours what were be done by the ETP, it's a good icebreaker, because myself, if I walk through halls and through fairs, sometimes you don't directly go onto one of the stalls of one of the booths, because you can't see that there is a big or a new innovation. And so these tours are very good to do and yeah, support that. So within an hour, within 2 hours, you can see a lot. And I'm quite happy that we as IVGT are also the co-host for the SmartX. And we had a lot of interesting talks through these 4 days on the fairground.
Thank you, Stefan. Thank you for the presentation of Textile. That it was really a key event of this year. And okay, if you have any questions for Stefan or for the German cluster, so please feel free to type the questions on the chat, or of any event that we can organize next year. Please feel free to type your questions. Now we're moving forward to our next co-host, which is the cluster organization for Catalonia. And we have here Ariana and Josep, that they organize a really, really nice workshop specifically for high performance fibers and textiles and smart textiles ecosystem in Catalonia. So Josep, or floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. So one of the activities that we organized in Catalonia was discovering the high performance and smart textile ecosystem. We organized incoming learning visits. So we opened it up to all the SmartX community that Judith and ETP managed to bring some participants, and we brought them to 2 different companies that are front runners on their sectors. One on high performance materials for that was Antex, one of the leading producers of synthetic yarns, and the other one was Centi, a leading company in smart textiles, so that we could feature and view in person, visit the facilities, discuss with the managers and the owners of both organizations. And then also what we fostered was networking with the whole ecosystem. So we organized a networking event in Barcelona. So the first day was mostly visits to companies, to the 2 kind of companies that are related to this community. And the second day was focusing on networking and co-creation together to define and identify what's going to be in the future, what could we do together in the future with a foresight strategy and approach. So it was a really interesting approach to facilitate networking, collaboration, seeding first connections, because at the end we organize also a speed dating, facilitating meeting one-to-one with the different participants in our cluster, the visitors, and that could generate some synergies that we will see in the coming months. And I think it's an interesting approach on having this community in person as well, having some activities in person to discover the different ecosystems that we have in Europe and what we can build on top of them. So I invite you to join this community and meet more and learn more about the opportunities that it has. So back to you.
Thank you, Josep. Thank you. Sorry. Okay. Thank you, Josep. Thank you for the explanation. I think you summarized it quite well what it happened, but it was really nice to see members of the community and, of course, the speed dating to interact one of each other and as well to know a bit the Catalonian ecosystem. So now we're moving forward with another activity that it's really nice, which are the SmartX live webinars. And for that, we have Lena-Marie, who hosted one of them. Lena-Marie, floor is yours.
Thank you, Judith. Well, my name is Lena-Marie Jensen, and I'm from Science Park Borås. I might be a new face to some of you and an old face to others. So I should talk about the live webinars, and they could be a little bit scary, as you can prepare to a certain extent, but after you go live, everything could happen. But I think the SmartX live webinar is a very good way and opportunity to interact with like-minded, knowledgeable people, both to tell what you do and have feedback on it. So, and we at Science Park Borås were very lucky to host one of those webinars. It was in October and about medical e-textiles. And we were so lucky that Judith visited us in place. And besides the fact that it's very nice to have visits from Textile.CAT, it creates the feeling of here and now, and you can show what you do in another way than you can do in PowerPoints. And it's also to give access to the environment we are working in. So, and I have been working with the textile product development for a very long time, and I think that looking at live prototypes, both in reality and digitally, makes people communicate more and better, and understand in a deeper sense. I think this is extra important when it comes to smart textiles and e-textiles, as there is so much about function, and the opportunity to really show what happens if you do certain things is really, really good. So with that said, I really look forward to more of those kind of webinars with the prototypes in 2025.
Thank you, Elena. No, that was really nice to visit you, and I do agree that it's really nice to see sometimes in webinars like the real prototyping working correctly there. So, I mean, now we're moving to the next slide. Unfortunately, we were supposed to have here Mauro Sanperegrini from Sistema Mora Italia. He's not, he cannot attend because he had a last minute issue, but he was going to speak about Milano Unica. I would like just to mention that in Milano Unica, there was an area dedicated for smart textiles and high performance fibers. And of course, all the members of the community were invited to send prototypes and display them. So I would like to mention that because it was one of the collaborative initiatives that we have done this year. And you see how the community slowly, it's merging together and doing different activities all together across Europe. And now we are going to move forward to know our next co-host, which is Daniela Zavec from Titera. She has been in ISPO, and I think she has some news to bring from there. So Daniela, floor is yours.
Nice to see you all. It's really my pleasure to be with all of you today together to make some plans for the next year, for the next steps. And I have been asked by Judith to say and to share a bit about ISPO, where I spent, unfortunately only one full day because of other duties and obligations all around my business life, let's say like that. By but I had a quite nice experience by testing some gadgets, some products. Like you can see on this photo, I was relaxing in the middle of the day, over 30 minutes in some suit called Reboost. It's nothing else than pneumatic textiles, massage given by a different strength, air strength, blowing through this suit. It was absolutely, after quite a walk at ISPO, a good moment also to wrap in my mind about the smart textiles prototypes and product I could see at this fair. So it is performed in Munich, and yeah, it's international fair, but this year there were not, let's say, the biggest stakeholders, players who we know as leaders in the sport, who are defining, let's say, also the limits and the orientations towards fitness performance, motion tracking, thermal management, etc. However, I could find approximately 6 producers of heating technologies based mainly on the same technology, but with having different integration and business models around it. I also had opportunity to touch and feel some cooling technologies, which are still on the passive level, talking about smart textiles. There were many related to tracking the motion of the users, and more or less this was related to the smart textile, to the e-textiles, everything what I could find, see. It was, yeah, a nice discussion I had also with our subscriber in the SmartX Innovation Hub, the company YKK. We're also developing the smart textile components for the future clothing, also for the outdoor, not only for the PPE. But like at all other fairs in 2024, also ISPO was very much, let's say, surrounded with sustainable and recycling textile materials. So like this was more the focus going also in the sport area, in the sport application field towards the sustainability. Yeah, I was not there long enough also to find more subscribers or to announce when exactly I will be there, because it was really the last minute decision. However, those who are having wishes, ideas, technologies ready for the sport application field, is still a lot of space for the innovation, for bringing new ideas, new solutions on the market. And it's worth to bring together the strength of also of us and of our subscribers and think together towards new innovative European products, I would say. And absolutely, I can recommend to go for it, to visit it also in the next year.
Thank you, Daniela. Thank you for the explanation. So I'm going to talk about the participation in different conferences that happened this year and the importance that it's taking high performance fibers and textiles, and of course, smart textiles. So I had the opportunity to join the SmartX projects finally then. It was a really interesting event in the terms of in terms of what was bringing there, what was happening there, not only about the final results of a European project, but as well of the collaborative initiative that they had, that they brought some people from different end markets, that they were looking experts in smart textiles in order to develop different projects or different products, and of course, building partnerships. I think that was a really interesting point from that side. And I had as well to moderate a panel of one of the topics, which is sustainability on e-textiles, and as well how are e-textiles going to evolve slowly, like in 5 years or in 10 years, where the industry will be. And it was a positive outcome on what's going to happen. Then, of course, we have the Textile ETP annual conference, that we have a small panel related to e-textiles and high-performance fibers and textiles. And it was a bit of how the technology is emerging into the end markets and how this technology is being applied in different industries, as we had 2 speakers really already with products in the market, and a 3rd speaker who was really talking about technology. So those panels are really interesting, and we are hoping that these panels start growing on the topics by the next years. And of course, for the 2nd consecutive year, had the opportunity to attend the e-textile conference. It's a conference really focused on textiles and electronics integration. I had to moderate a panel about eco-design and sustainability in e-textiles, which is quite challenging. And as well, the outcome of the conference was that it was really focused in manufacturing. That is one of the challenges that we are facing sometimes. It's manufacturing like e-textiles. And this conference was really focusing to that and how technologies are evolving slowly towards that. Of course, we target as a little bit standardization. That is one of the problems of e-textiles, and sustainability, as I said, and we briefly mentioned the upcoming bomb that it's arriving, which is artificial intelligence. So we're running a bit late, so I'm going to move forward. I'm just going to mention that that was developed for commuters. So we have 2 different podcasts. One, it's called Meet the Expert. They are exclusive interviews only for members. So it's shared in members platform and by email for the subscribers. And then we have a public version in order to try to educate the open world about what are smart textiles. And of course, those are interviews from our members that they want to disseminate projects or their activities in the market. So with no further delay, that we are running slightly a bit late, I'm gonna give the word to Mateo, my colleague, that he is behind all the social media. So Mateo, floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. I was just mentioning that we are on LinkedIn. We are SmartX Innovation Hub as their own LinkedIn. So if you want to know more information about the high performance textile and the SmartX one, you can follow us. And at the moment, we create this LinkedIn page this year. It will reach more than 1,000 followers. And we had a lot of LinkedIn impression, more than 65K. We share 182 news to inform our follower with the new events for some our SmartX member that ask us to forward and to share their news. And in our Spotify, we reach 17 different countries that listen our Smart Textiles and SmartX World podcast, and we will continue to put our podcast on YouTube and on Spotify to continue to explore and to share information about the smart textiles world. Thank you.
So thank you, Mateo. Thank you for the explanation about social media. And now we're going to, I think, one of the presentations that you are all looking forward. So we have today here Lutz as a guest speaker, because normally he's behind the scene, but he's still here. And he's going to talk about the Textiles of the Future partnership and other funding opportunities that can be relevant for smart textiles in general.
Yes, well, good afternoon, everybody, and very happy to be here and very happy to speak to quite a large audience here. And I hope that many of those here in the audience are maybe new in a way to the SmartX Innovation Hub. But I hope that my colleagues and our co-hosts have given you already a very good idea that this is something that is quite extraordinary and quite unique that we have built over the years. And sometimes my colleagues are a little modest when they speak about the things they have built. SmartX started as a project, as an EU-funded project, which has now been over for more than 2.5 years. And usually when an EU project is over for 2.5 years, you would find it difficult to even find any information about it anywhere in the world. So whereas we have built on top of that project a really unique activity, a really unique network. And if you are in the area of smart textiles and e-textiles for sure, but also increasingly technical textiles, you want to be part of this. So, and I believe you want to be part of it simply to find like-minded experts, to find companies, researchers who work on areas that are of interest to you, that have knowledge that that you may want to, that have contacts, that have business opportunities that that you may want to share with. And that I think is the number one reasons why the subscribers that are already the more than 120 experts that we have already in the network are here. But there may be also a few who may be here to say, well, are there any funding opportunities related to that? Because, well, money is obviously also a very important, let's say, motivator of activity. So, and yes, I believe there is money here in terms of research funding, and there will be more money than we have seen in the past, and that's very good, and that's what I want to talk to you about. So many of you probably have heard about the Textiles of the Future Partnership, and for those who haven't, so for the first time ever, Europe will have a dedicated funding program for textile research. It will kick off next year. It will be done in a partnership between the EU textile sector in its research community, which is represented by the Textile ETP on the one side and the European Commission on the other side. Both sides will contribute to a total initial budget of 60 million euros for the first 3 years. And there will be calls, dedicated calls for proposals that will come out in the next 3 years, 2025, 26, 27. And then hopefully after the new EU research program will be started after 2027, this partnership will continue and will grow. What we have done as a first step, and if you jump to the next slide, there you will see that we have in July of this year published our strategic research and innovation agenda, which is basically our guiding document, and not only ours, but also the European Commission's guiding document to what kind of research should be funded under this partnership. And if you skip to the next slide, you will see that there are 3 priority areas. And if you look at the third one, where you see the smart T-shirt as a little icon there, you can also see that 2 specific research topics, safe and sustainable materials for technical applications and advanced multifunctional materials for technical applications, are 2 priorities that really firmly focus on the topics that are covered by the SmartX Innovation Hub. So we, if you go forward, you will see that the Textiles of the Future Partnership has still a few steps to go through until the first funding projects will launch. So we expect to sign our partnership in January with the European Commission. Then in February or March, we expect to see the final confirmation that our first work program topic, which we propose as digitally enabled local textile and apparel production, will be included in the program. We're very hopeful for that. And then towards the end of the first quarter, beginning of the second quarter, the official calls will be launched, and then proposals can be submitted. Most likely submission period over the summer, so that probably by early September, proposals will have to be submitted, and then before the end of the year, the European Commission will decide which projects will receive funding. So what is important to you to understand is that this dedicated partnership is will be sort of the flagship program for textile research funding under the European research programs, but it will not be the only program under which potentially smart and technical textile research work will be funded. So to give you a bit of a taste, I picked up 3 other topics which so far we have to be confirmed. Sign on this slide here because this is only in draft state. In 2025, we expect to see these other 3 research topics, which are all highly relevant for smart and technical textiles, innovative advanced materials for conformable, flexible or stretchable electronics, with a total budget of 15 million euros and funding size of approximately 5 million euros per project. A topic on innovative advanced materials for product monitoring, smart maintenance and repair strategies in the construction sector. So smart textiles and technical textiles play a role there, especially when it comes to monitoring of surfaces and monitoring of structural health of infrastructures and building, with even a larger budget of 30 million total, with probably 5 projects being funded around 6 million each. And then last but not least, very interested especially for technical textiles for workwear, protective and also, let's say, functional outdoor wear, which is a topic for development of safe and sustainable design alternatives to PFAS functionalization chemicals that are, of course, heavily used, especially for waterproofing and oil repellents in technical textile markets. So again, fairly large budget with also large-scale projects that they expect to be funded. So these are different to the other topic, to the textiles of the future topic, are not topics that are exclusively dedicated to textiles. So there will be projects that have nothing to do with textiles in this, that will be dealing with electronics, with other construction materials, with other materials where PFAS chemistry is being used. But most likely there will be good opportunities for some textile and textile research components in some of these projects. Now you may ask the question, well, do I have to be part of the SmartX community to benefit from these opportunities? And of course, you do not have to be. So these are public open calls, so anybody can apply to these call topics. There are no barriers technically, or let's say legally speaking, but there are a lot of barriers technically speaking, in the sense that you will only be successful when you apply for these programs, when you apply with a really strong consortium and with partners who really know how these programs work. And I think that's where I believe the SmartX community and Innovation Hub can come in. So as part of our normal work for all of our textile ETP members, we organize brokerage activities, which we call TAPIs, that are organized once every year to help our members to form these consortia and respond to these calls. But these TAPIs activities are not very thematically specific. So given the number of calls that have a relevance for smart and technical textiles, I can imagine, I'm pretty sure, that we will organize some dedicated brokerage activities for the members of this Innovation Hub community to put them in a pole position to apply for these funding opportunities. So I would say one more reason to come on board in 2025. And I know that Judith will mention it in the end, but I'll anticipate it here already. So signing up to our community is really not expensive. We always say it costs about the ticket of a 2-day conference, but the difference is that you get a year of full of activities. And that is something that I think should be really well worth it. So I hope more partners, subscribers come on board next year for the funding opportunities and for all the other fun activities in the program. And with this, back to Judith.
So now we're going to briefly describe the upcoming events. I would like to say that this is a community or a hub that it's designed for their participants. So of course, the activities that they are changing and appearing new activities due to the need or the request from the majority of members. But overall, we just say that if you want to join the SmartX Innovation Hub, it's because you want to learn, you want to gain knowledge of what's happening on the field of smart textiles and high performance. You want to know the latest trends that they are arriving in the industry. You want to know a bit the consumer needs, and of course, from the side of universities and technological and research associations, what's going on and what are the technologies that they are emerging. Of course, we like to say that you want to network, you want to meet people that they are joining, that they are working on those fields. And of course, you're really willing to collaborate and to meet relevant stakeholders, build new partnerships, and of course, participate in the initiative, the European funding initiative that Lutz mentioned, or any other initiative that may appear. And of course, you like to share the news, you like to share your activities, you like to share which projects you are working on, and of course, any news and events. Because as we said, we have the podcast, but as well, we have a newsletter that is shared by all the participants or all the members of the hub, where we share news of different projects, relevant technologies that they are appearing, apart, of course, of all the upcoming and activities that took place during the period. So for you to have a global idea on what's going on, I'm going to move forward to the planning for the first for the first half of the year, we can say it. So we're going to stop now, of course, because we're going to go for Christmas break. And when we are back, we're going to resume activities on the 22nd of January with the first webinar in e-textiles. And of course, the second one, it's going to be a week later on high performance fibers and textiles. Then on February, it's a busy month, as I like to call it, because we have the e-textile webinar, we will have Lubek, and we will have a podcast, the Smart Textile Smarter Wool, which means that it's public for everyone. It will be a dissemination of one project or association. Later, we will have the newsletter, and on March, we will follow with a high-performance textiles webinar and an e-textile webinar, and of course, 2 podcasts, one related for public and the other one only for members. Then on April, we are going to have just a webinar on textiles and the newsletter. And of course, May, it's again a busy month where we're going to have the Textile ETPM conference. That's this year is going to be really focused on the eco design, but we are going to have some panels specifically dedicated to high performance fibers and of course e-textiles. And later on, we'll have the e-textile summit. We haven't placed yet, but over the first quarter, probably we are going to try to organize another workshop like the one that we did in Barcelona. And in May, we'll have as well a Meet the Expert podcast. And June, before Christmas, we are going to close the first part of the year with high performance fibers and textile webinar, an e-textile webinar, and of course a podcast and a newsletter. Then we normally have the summer break and we resume the activities from September to December. So that's a bit the planning. Of course, there are new activities that they are being placed depending on the need, and of course depending on what's happening in the field. So moving forward, I'm going to be quite quickly here because it's an initiative that we may try to launch depending on the interest of our members, but SPR is a key legislation defining what is sustainable textile product and its potential impact on fiber selection. and it's going to enter in 2028. Of course, there is a lot of regulation and a lot of definition happening in the part of fashion. So really fashion industry is being defined, but no one is going to define for technical textiles. This is why we would like to try to launch an initiative if there is enough interest from our members of having dedicated workshops to try to define what is a sustainable textile product for technical textiles, which, as you can imagine, it's going to be quite challenging because it will depend as well on the different end markets that we face and the different applications. But that's something I would like to mention like that. And then to finalize a bit my speech, I would like to say that here you have an image of all the meetings that we have done. But I would like to say that we are growing, and I think the work that we are doing is really being valuable, but by all our members. And as Lutz mentioned, how to subscribe. So we have 3 different packages. They're like a 2-day ticket conference for the whole year, for the monthly webinars, for the newsletter and the podcast. And the first package, it's the expert. So basically you can just subscribe to one person to the platform, and one person from the company can only attend the webinars and all the activities that we are doing. And it's 750 euros per year, so it's not per month or anything like that. Then we have the team where you can subscribe 3 people to the activities that we are doing, and it's 1,250 euros. And then, of course, we have the corporate that you can subscribe unlimited people to the platform, which costs 2,000 euros. Now, my colleague Matteo will post the link in the chat for you to have a look. And of course, we are hoping that you join us for next year. And how we do it, it's really easy. You subscribe, we prepare the invoice, and once you have paid the invoice, we will onboard you on the platform, and you will automatically receive all the information that of the activities that we are doing. We're going to follow up with an email with all that information. And of course, you're going to receive the presentation and the recording. And of course, if you have any question, feel free to contact either myself or either Matteo. And of course, Lutz as well will be happy to reply any question regarding the textiles of the future or how to subscribe to our Innovation Hub. So I know that we are running a bit late, but I would like to make a break of 5 minutes, and I will invite you to help us on a project that we are running, which is called the Smartino. It's really dedicated to e-textiles. And this is 2 surveys to shape the future of smart textiles education and workforce development. So you know that sometimes there is a huge gap between what's happening on the educational institutions and what the industry is receiving. So the survey is about that. So please scan those links depending if you are an industry or an association or you are an educational institution. And we're going to give you 5 minutes, and then we will go to the Q&A. So thank you for your collaboration on that. Okay, thank you a bit for your collaboration. We're going to take over a bit on the Q&A. Please, the ones who are doing the survey, please continue. And now we're moving to Q&A. I have seen a question in the chat dedicated to, I guess it's Centi, because at LOPEC.
Yes.
Who have been your visitors? I don't know if it's referring to
the booth, perhaps.
Yes, probably, yeah.
So LOPEC, it was a conference and an exhibition at the same time. As I explained, we had there a booth from Centi, and really, as I mentioned previously, LOPEC is a technological conference highly dedicated to flexible electronics. But of course, within this topic, also e-textile and smart textile-based applications fit within this subject. So we had there demonstrated 4 different fields, namely e-textiles, and the visitors were from different types of backgrounds in different stages of the types of business, let's say like this. We even meet with common suppliers of substrates, new inks, new polymers, new fibers, new conductive wires. But at the same time, we also had there companies that had specifically nice devices developed, like for example, pressure sensors that they could imagine that could fit to e-textile based applications, up to end users that already have e-textile based solutions that can be explored. So this is one of those types of conferences that promotes a high reunion of people from low TRL level solutions that develop technology up to main manufacturers. So really the audience is very diverse. So there you have the chance to meet different types of partners in different type of areas.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. Now we can hear you properly. That wasn't the problem. Yes, it was a problem with the general micro. So I don't know if there is any other question. I'm looking on the chat, but it doesn't look like. But if someone has any question, please feel free to raise your hand. Doesn't look like. No. Okay, so we are going to move to the next.
Speak? No.
Yes, sure.
Hello.
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 Yes, Victoria.
No, I'm not Victoria. I'm Eleni. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you perfectly well.
Thank you. I thought it was about textiles, about the garments, clothes, etc. But it's about business, firemen wearing, or those working in ships, those who need to cover from oil. Exactly. Am I correct? Have I understand correctly?
It's
These are. I beg your pardon? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. I mean, it's a hub related to e-textile or high-performance fibers. So yes, of course, PPEs, protection equipments, they are part of high-performance and sometimes e-textiles. But I mean, there are different applications. You can find as well applications on construction. You can find applications as well on antibacterial textiles. So there are several different applications. And as well, we touch a bit manufacturing, but it's more manufacturing e-textiles, because I think high performance fibers and textiles, they are well manufactured. They just only facing some issues with the new legislations, but they are well manufacturing, so they are not a problem there on scalability. It's more on new applications and legislations that they have to remove, for example, the PFAS and all that. And for e-textiles, we touch manufacturing.
Can I ask something? Because I'm curious. I have to ask since I'm here with you.
Yes.
Can I ask? Yes. When someone is working in a hard, very rough environment, meaning working manually, pulling pumps, whatever, or he's a fireman, putting out fires, for instance, there's a lot of sweat. Can you understand?
Yes.
A lot of sweat from the body during a bad hour in a fire inside the wood. Yes. And all this sweat is overheating him as well, apart from the fact that he's fighting the fire. Because in Greece we had great fires, wildfires this year, and we had very drought weather. And e-textiles could also help with sweat. I don't know, even people sweat. We had a very awful summer in that aspect. And I can't see you anyway. It's okay. You can see me, I hope. Now I can see you. And I hope that it would be more practical. E-textiles would be more practical, apart from the fact that you need e-textiles for other reasons that I can understand. I'm only a housewife. But sweat inside a garment fighting a fire is not a good thing. I think it should think something, as you said, antibacterial products, that's good, and absorbing the sweat from the firefighters. That would be awesome if you could find something like that, because it's in front of us. Severe weathers or fighting fire inside the ship. Worse, even worse. Thank you. I don't want to occupy you anymore.
I think we have a few experts.
So it's,
I think we have a few experts here that could take over the question maybe on a different point of view, but I mean, from the textile side, I mean, what we are doing for firefighters is a bit of monitoring to see, I mean, the performance of the body of the firefighters. And as well, there is a lot of research going on. And I say research because we are not there yet of cooling devices. So putting like some cooling devices, but of course, there are problems with energy efficiency and energy storage, which, I mean, it's really, really, really needed for a cooling device. And then from the other side, I think that, I mean, firefighters, of course, they are wearing like garments made out of flame retardant that, of course, they are transpirable, but of course, the temperatures that they are working are really high. So sweat, it's a part of it. But it's true that in textiles, there are some developments going into monitoring the firefighters and as well cooling devices, but we are not there yet. So for monitoring, but for cooling devices, it's the problem. It's really the energy efficiency and the energy storage. I don't know if any of our co-hosts wants to add something else, but I think I reply kind of your question.
Yeah, I can just say some words about it. And the winner of the Innovation Award at Textile is a startup working with the moisture management, actually. They are called Luna Micro. So that could be some kind of advice for you to look at. So Luna Micro.
Luna Micro. I will search. Thank you. It was very interesting hearing all of you. It's open-minded.
Okay, thank you, Eleni. Thank you for your question. So,
you're welcome.
We have another question on the chat who says, do you have an overview on the webinars you are planning to add to the ETP forum in 2025? Well, in the ETP itself, I mean, we're referring to SmartX. Yes, we have the planning. I mentioned the planning, and this planning is going to be shared. And as soon as we have the topics, we will be adding them. So, I mean, maybe by beginning of next year, you will know already like some of the topics that we are going to target in the different webinars. And the planning, probably when we close the webinar, like 5 minutes, 1 hour later, you will receive this planning by email. Okay. I don't know if there is any other question. It doesn't look like we're a bit late, so I'm going to I'm going to conclude the webinar here. So saying that thank you all for participating and for being with us in that like what happened in 2024 and the upcoming activities on 2025. And I hope to see most of you on 2025 as members of our SmartX Innovation Hub. As Lutz says, we are not only a simple hub, so we are really providing like or trying to fill some needs from our members with our activities. And of course, we are proactive and we listen to our members and we add or remove activities in function of the needs of our members. And as Lutz said as well, for the EU projects, it could be beneficial to be part of one of those hubs in order to build strong consortiums and have an opportunity to win one of those competitions. So as I just briefly mentioned, you are going to receive the slides, you are going to receive the recording of this webinar, and of course you're going to receive all the information where you can find the pricing and of course the link to subscribe, and of course our emails directly in case you have any questions and you want to ask us. And I have to say as well, a big thank you for my colleagues being here today. And of course, to all our co-hosts that has been, that has participated in the webinar, and as well that they are helping us to create and to grow this hub. So thank you all. And I don't know if you want to say any further words, Lutz.
I would just like to echo what Judith said. So I hope we will see many of you in the regular program of the SmartX Innovation Hub next year. Until then, well, I think what we can wish you is really happy holidays, a relaxing year-end break to all of you, and then to more smart textile innovation and technical textile innovation 2025.
Yeah. And of course, if you want to have a detailed activities of 2024, there is a super nice brochure where you can see the different webinars that took place and the different speakers that participate in our webinars. So thank you all and hope to see you soon.